The Smackdown After WrestleMania was live from Fort Worth, Texas. Make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe as we go through Smackdown. Friday Night Smackdown begins with seeing Cody Rhodes and Rhea Ripley come on down to the ring. And then we hear Jacob Fatu's music hit, and he comes down the ring to say, "I'm ready for you, Roman. I've had people my entire life say that I'm not ready, but I am ready." He stares down the camera lens as he says this. But then the Usos music hits, and they come out to the ring, and Jimmy hops on the mic and says, "Why are you going after Roman? You know, you got the QB1 Prime ready for the taking to take his title. You don't have to do this, Jacob." And Jay hops on the mic and says that, you know, if you're actually going to try to say that you're ready for Roman, you're not actually ready, because he's going to bring it to you. When that title is on the line, he means business. He ain't going to back down. He's not going to give up to keep that title. And then we hear Solo Sikoa's music. Solo comes on out and he says, "Jacob, why are you listening to these guys? These guys are fools. What are they going to do? Teach you how to yeet?" Absolutely ridiculous. So he comes into the ring saying that, "Jacob, you should join me. I'll help you win that world title from Roman. I've got an army for you." Now, noticeably, Tala Tonga was missing from this segment. I don't know if he's injured or something. So we'll hopefully hear about that over the weekend or throughout the week. Hopefully he's all right. But then Tama Tonga takes the mic from Solo Sikoa to say, "Why are we wasting time with this guy? He's not going to listen to you, Solo. He's a lost cause. You know, I believe that he couldn't even beat you, Solo." And then Jacob super kicks Tama Tonga, and then there's a little bit of a scuffle, but Nick Aldis makes it official. Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu in the main event. Julia versus Tiffany Stratton for the United States Women's Championship was up next, and Julia and Kiana James are backstage with Kathy Kelly talking about how they are very upset that they weren't on the WrestleMania 42 card defending that belt, and they're going to channel all of that anger into that match with Tiffany Stratton. We get into the match. It's a great match. What you would expect from both of these world-class wrestlers. Now, we're going to jump to the end of the match here, where Julia is going for a Northern Lights bomb, but Tiffany Stratton reverses it into an Alabama slam and then hits the prettiest moonsault ever to get the 1, 2, 3 and your new United States Champion, Tiffany Stratton. Now, I'm going to jump to after the commercial break, where Tiffany Stratton's standing on the top of the ramp there, and she's cutting a promo saying that she's going to defend this belt with honor, and it is Tiffy's time. I think it was a great match, honestly. I do wish that Julia had more time with that United States Championship and actually defended it more often. I wish she had more time to showcase her skills, but I think she'll get another shot at that title here soon. Now, for the next segment, I'm going to kind of combine both segments together, and then I'll talk about their match when the match happens on the show. So, I'm talking about Danhausen and The Miz. And Danhausen breaks into The Miz's home and goes swimming in his pool, and Miz is chasing him around the house, trying to get him to leave. But as Danhausen gets out of the pool, he's going to hit the golf balls in Miz's golfing simulator. And as he's going back for a swing, he hits Miz in the balls. He's down. Danhausen steals a Slammy award and makes a break for it. Tries out the chocolate that's on the table. And he runs into Maurice. And he's standing there talking to Maurice for a second. She's like, "I can't believe you're here." And then The Miz tries to come up and hit Danhausen with that bowl of powdered chocolate, but ends up hitting Maurice instead. And Danhausen steals The Miz's daughter's bike and gets away. Absolutely hilarious little set of videos there. I love it, Danhausen being in WWE. I think he's hilarious and adds so much to the show. And he was a top merch seller at WrestleMania 42, believe it or not. Top 3. We'll jump back to the arena here, where just after Tiffany Stratton is done cutting her promo at the top of the stage, Brie Bella and Paige make their entrance and on their way down to the ring. And Brie Bella talks about how proud she is at being at WrestleMania 42. She wishes she could have went for the belts with her sister, but unfortunately she has that injury. But Paige is a phenomenal substitute. Paige then hops on the mic and says she's happy to be home back in WWE, and she cannot wait to defend these titles against all the new competition that she hasn't been able to defend against. And then we hear Charlotte Flair's music, and then Alexa Bliss shortly after. They come down to the ring and say, well, if you say this is your house, Paige, how about you prove it? You know, I'm a former tag team champion and women's champion. She's a former tag and women's champion. Let's have a match right now. The match gets made, but it is not for the titles. Non-title match. And that match, right away, happens. Nick Aldis makes it official. Then, we're well into the match, and Brie is going for the hot tag for Paige because the crowd is going nuts. They want to see Paige in that match. But a debuting Fatal Influence comes in and ruins the match, beats up everybody, gets to the disqualification, and they lay out everybody. All 4 people. They lay out Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Brie Bella, and Paige, and they're standing tall, smiling. A Royce Keys vignette was up next, where they have shots from his community and people from the community, his friends, his family, police officers, other community service members. They just talk about how proud they are seeing Royce Keys on WWE television, winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. Happy that he made it to WWE, made it out of that small town. It was a nice little touching, heartfelt vignette for Royce Keys. Next up, we have Cody Rhodes in his black eye coming down to the ring, and he wants to talk about how, you know, he may be battered and bruised, and Randy Orton didn't get the job done because he's still standing, and then he wants to take a shot at Sami Zayn, you know, for calling him the Golden Boy, but he donned himself in all gold because he is the Golden Boy. He is gold. His family is gold. His friends are gold. The fans are gold, and he's going to hold up the gold for a long time. Then he also talks about how there's an unforeseen force middling in his Wrestlemania plans, what seems like every year. They're 3-0 or something, he says like that. Then he wants to talk about how he's going to defend that belt whenever, wherever. So he says, if you're from NXT, Raw, or SmackDown, come and take your shot because I'm not hard to find. Shortly after that, we catch up with Solo and the MFTs, and Solo tells Tama Tonga and JC Mateo to focus on getting those tag belts, and Tonga Loa comes up and he says, hey, are you going to need some help with Jacob, or do you need me to deal with him? And Solo says, no, I've got it. Very quickly from that segment, we jump into the tag title match, which is R-Truth and Damian Priest versus Tama Tonga and JC Mateo. This match actually wasn't very long. I want to say maybe 5 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. But I think we did have a commercial break in the middle of that. But relatively short match, and it was pretty fun. We got a Tama Tonga version of the 5-Knuckle Shuffle, and R-Truth and Damian Priest get the win with the Rise Up. And still, your tag team champions, R-Truth and Damian Priest. Trick Williams is up next, and he comes on down to the ring with Lil Yachty and the Gingerbread Man. Now, what was interesting, and I thought most interesting about this segment, is Lil Yachty gets on the mic to say that he is here to stay, and he is going to be Trick Williams' manager and hype man from now on. They make references to Michael Jordan and Phil Jackson, and who was the other one? Mike Tyson and Don King. And so they made a couple other sports references, but that was the point of Lil Yachty's getting on the mic, and Trick Williams hops on the mic to say that, you know, he's going to be a United States champion for a long time. He's got the jacket, he's got the lemon pepper steppers. You know, he's going to celebrate and hold up the title with the pyro going, and the Gingerbread Man comes up and whacks him with the candy cane, hits Trick Williams, beats him down with the candy cane, beats down Lil Yachty with the candy cane, and then he's standing there in the middle of the ring and takes off the headpiece to reveal it was Sami Zayn in the gingerbread suit, and he's smiling and grinning from ear to ear. So I think we set that up for Backlash. Royce Keys is backstage with Kathy Kelly, and standing next to his Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal trophy, Solo Sikoa comes up, interrupts his interview, and I think we're going to set that match up here pretty soon. It's going to be fun. I think Royce Keys is poised to have a title by SummerSlam. I'm not sure what title it's going to be, but I think it's going to be the United States title he wins at SummerSlam. That's just my prediction. Next up, we have Danhausen versus The Miz, and Danhausen comes out with his Danhausen mobile, and he drives it around like Stone Cold does with the four-wheeler. And then the Miz comes on out, and this was a fun, short match. Absolutely did its job, and what it needed to be was short and sweet. And so Danhausen gets the win after he curses the Miz while the Miz is distracted with Kit Wilson. He hits the curse, and the pyro comes out, gets Miz in the face, and he rolls him up for the 1, 2, 3. And now Miz is very upset with this, so they're chasing each other around Benny Hill style. And then Danhausen crawls onto the ring. So does the Miz. He pops out, hops in his Danhausen mobile, but the Miz pops out and runs into Kit Wilson, and Danhausen gets away yet again. I'm actually really loving Danhausen in WWE. They're like full, like putting all their chips in on him being just goofy wrestling and just a goofy character. And it's really fun. You can tell he's having fun. Miz is having fun. Kit Wilson's having fun. So it makes it really enjoyable watching it on TV. Next, we get a couple of vignettes. I'm going to just kind of pair them together. It's the Blake Monroe vignette and Ricky Starks. Blake Monroe says that she's coming soon to SmackDown. And Ricky Saints, maybe I said Starks, sorry. Ricky Saints is making his debut next week. And I'm super proud of Ricky Saints. I remember watching him in NWA when he was the NWA television champion and got his TNT championship and FTW championship in AEW, and now he is going to be on SmackDown. Pretty cool stuff to follow his career all this time. Rhea Ripley comes out to the ring next, and she talks about how Jade was a great opponent and Mommy is back on top. Now, she's pretty much doing an open challenge. She basically just says, if you want some, come get it. Who's next? So she's standing there, and whose music hits? It is Fatal Influence again coming on out, and JC Jane tries to, explain why she's coming out to challenge Rhea Ripley, but the crowd, my goodness, it is Dominic Mysterio levels of boos that they were getting. You could barely hear JC Jane or anybody from Fatal Influence try to talk on the mic, but JC Jane does get something out that she wants to challenge her for the Women's Championship. But Nick Aldis comes out and he makes it official, but it is a non-title match. So we get JC Jane versus Rhea Ripley, and that match was actually very good. Very good match. Great, probably 10 minutes of action until Rhea Ripley's going for the Riptide at the end there, and the rest of Fatal Influence come into the ring, cause the disqualification, and they just beat down on Rhea Ripley. And the other two members of Fatal Influence hold up Rhea Ripley, and JC Jane hits that rolling encore elbow, knocks her out, laying in the middle of the ring as they squirm away, smiling, proud of themselves. Next, we see Jacob Fatu in the back getting ready for his match with Solo Sikoa, and the Usos come up and say, hey man, are you going to need some help out there tonight in the main event? And Jacob basically says, no, don't even bother. After this, we get a quick backstage segment with Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss in the trainer's room, getting some help from the trainer, and then Rhea Ripley walks through the door, and Charlotte immediately starts attacking Rhea Ripley, saying, I can't believe you couldn't get the job done. Looks like I'm going to have to face JC Jane next week and finish the job for you, champ. And Alexa apologizes to Rhea and, saying, sorry, tensions are high. They ruined our match for the title, or ruined our tag match. And so they walk off, and I think it's set for next week, Charlotte Flair versus JC Jane. Pretty cool. Then we also get another video package for Brock Lesnar. Cool stuff, great video package, absolutely love it. Enjoy him retirement, big guy. Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu was up next. The main event is already here. This week's SmackDown felt like it actually went by pretty quickly, all things considered, it being 3 hours. But this was a hard-hitting match, as you would expect from both of these big guys. Now, the theme of the night, cast distraction and interfere. So, Jacob Fatu got the upper hand on Solo for a little while, but Tama Tonga and JC Mateo keep casting distraction to get Jacob's attention. As Solo has the ref's attention, they beat him up on the outside, and the Usos come out, but Jacob Fatu continues to say, no, I don't need your help, I don't need your help, so stay back. And towards the end of the match here, Jacob Fatu hits a dive to all three members of the MFTs on the outside, focuses his attention onto Solo Sikoa, hits the Samoan drop, hits his patented moonsault, and gets the 1-2-3 for the win. But quickly after he gets that win, the MFTs come back in to beat him up. Now Jacob gets a hold of 2 chairs, starts beating up everybody with the chairs, and he puts a chair onto Tama Tonga's head. He puts a chair onto JC Mateo's head, gets them in the corner, and hits his hip attack to them in each corner, dives out to Tongaloa and puts him onto the announce table, does a splash, and he is standing tall in the middle of the ring. And he's staring down the Usos saying, I had it the whole time. Look at me. I'm the man now. I'm ready for Roman Reigns, as we go off air with them staring each other down. That was the SmackDown after WrestleMania. Let me know down in the comments what your favorite part of SmackDown was this week. Who's your favorite call-up from NXT? Hit that like button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.